Today we're covering 3 stories that should terrify you. Welcome back to Unpriced Risk. We're going to be talking about 3 stories that evidence some risk that has not yet been priced into the markets. If you're not jumping out of your seat, I don't know what will after this episode. So we're going to start with Clawdbot. It's been blowing up in crypto, Twitter, and AI circles, and it's pretty cool, but it's also horrifying. Now, I got to distinguish the two for you here because Claude and Clawdbot are 2 different things. Hey guys, I got to issue a quick correction here. Seems Clawdbot has been threatened by Claude AI. Clawdbot has recently been renamed Moltbot because of pressure from Anthropic. They were worried about conflicts with their Claude AI model. So yeah, there you go. Just a heads up going forward. Whenever I say Clawdbot, hell, we might redub it. We might redub it to Moltbot. Moltbot. Moltbot is an AI agent that doesn't just answer questions. It actually does things on your behalf. And it does so by kind of hooking in directly into like a core level of your PC. This means that it can like access programs just like you do. This is very powerful because it enables it to, draft and send emails on your behalf. It can read all your messages. It gets a better understanding of you because it has access to all your information. But obviously, this is a double-edged sword, right? It's kind of scary. It knows everything about me. It could do whatever, right? So get this. You can use Clawdbot to make a reservation, not just using OpenTable, but it'll actually call a restaurant on your behalf using Google Voice and then using 11 Labs text-to-speech voice cloning tech to then use your voice or whoever's voice is on 11 Labs to actually call the restaurant on your behalf and make a reservation. This is the kind of like integration I'm talking about that could do anything for you. It can send messages across Telegram, Discord, Slack, Signal, WhatsApp, manage your calendar, execute commands on your computer. It basically acts as your personal assistant that never sleeps. This is where things get, dystopian and frightening, all right? Clawdbot is kind of a security nightmare as it is. To work well, Clawdbot needs deep access to your system. And I mean deep. It runs on your PC with essentially root access. That means it can read all your files, access all your programs, see everything you do, and execute commands with your permissions. But it gets worse. The way it's configured, or how a lot of people are configuring it, it exposes certain parts on your network. And if you don't know what you're doing, which most people don't, I didn't until I read a couple threads, you're basically giving anyone who can find those exposed parts access to your Clawdbot. And now, if they have access to your Clawdbot, they have access to everything your Clawdbot has access to, which is basically your entire digital life, which is in the modern day, 90% of your life. Let's be real, especially if you're watching this, right? Let me read you an excerpt from this excellent article by this guy, Jameson O'Reilly. He's a security expert, and he kind of breaks down the real risk here and the actual vulnerability itself. So early in this article, he kind of lays out how you can find vulnerable Clawdbot instances. There's a tool called Shodan, and it trawls like open ports, open working servers. You can filter by like some information about that server. So he just filtered it by something as simple as like Clawdbot, right? And it pulled up all the servers that are running Clawdbot. From there, you can narrow it down to which ones are open and vulnerable. Read access gets you the complete configuration, which includes every credential the agent uses, API keys, bot tokens, OAuth secrets, signing keys. So right here, if someone gets in, they have all your API keys, every service you've connected, every credential. But it continues. You can pull the full conversation history across every integrated platform, meaning months of private messages and file attachments, everything the agent has seen. Your entire message history across every platform, every private conversation, every file you shared. That's scary enough, and that's only with read-only access, right? The real problem is that Clawdbot agents have agency. They can send messages on behalf of users across Telegram, Slack, Discord, Signal, WhatsApp. They can execute tools and run commands. With control access, you inherit all of that capability. Let's think about what this means. If they have control access from your open server to your Clawdbot, an attacker can impersonate you to all your contacts. They can send messages that look exactly like they're from you. Hell, if you give them access to your email, they can email your boss. They can email your bank. They can email anybody. They can open up loans in your name. They can steal your identity. They can exfiltrate data through the agent's existing integrations in a way that looks like completely normal traffic. And here's the kicker. Because you control the agent's perception layer, you can manipulate what the human sees. You filter out certain messages. You modify responses before they're displayed. Having Clawdbot is like giving a vulnerability about as serious as some of the worst malware out there, in the sense that it has access to all your programs and all your data. And it also has a layer between you and this data. So as they're manipulating it, you won't even know what's happening. Okay? That's how crazy this thing is. So let's get into the unpriced risk here. Okay? I'm not talking about the pricing of the Clawdbot token itself, but perhaps some risks in our greater way we manage our lives. Some of us have made peace with the fact that AI is going to take a lot of our jobs, right? But maybe we haven't fully recognized how fully we will need to surrender to AI to get to that point, which may also be inevitable. Are we ready to accept that AI will take even our very identities? Because that's what we're looking at here. Not just unemployment, digital identity theft at a scale we've never seen before. AI security is going to be huge. It's some risk I want you to be aware of. Continue to play with these AI toys, but be security minded. Remember, there are a lot of other really smart guys whose whole job is just to try and take your shit, dude. Don't make it easy for them. Let's talk about something that's embarrassing for every Bitcoin maximalist out there. Gold won't stop going up. And I mean, it won't stop going up, man. I was at Costco, it was up to $5,000 an ounce. Everyone knows what this means. It's monetary debasement. Now, the Bitcoin guys, they've been saying monetary debasement, that's why you buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just going to keep going up, limited supply. The problem is smart money is fleeing to hard assets is what it seems like. Central banks are printing, inflation is persistent, but Bitcoin isn't rising, okay? It's supposed to be Bitcoin's moment, right? This is the exact macro environment that Bitcoin was designed for. It was digital gold, harder than gold even, they said. 21 million forever, they said. And to some extent, they're right. More gold is being mined all the time. The supply of gold does grow, but psychologically, it's not the same. Why is all this money going into rocks, literal rocks? Monetary debasement is happening when there's instability in monetary policy. Sovereign wealth funds and institutional money, they're not buying Bitcoin. Okay, they're going to buy gold because you can hold gold. It's real. It's tangible. It's physical. They're stacking gold at record rates, okay? Pension funds are adopting more gold, not Bitcoin. When billionaires are worried about the dollar, they're buying gold, not Bitcoin. Why? Is it just because it's a tech that boomers understand? Kind of, but there's more to it. You can physically hold gold. You can see it. With Bitcoin, you're trusting cryptographic keys, hardware wallets, and the hope that you don't fat finger a transaction. There's more regulatory clarity around gold. Gold has thousands of years of legal precedent. Everyone understands what it is and how it works. Bitcoin is still navigating regulatory uncertainty in most jurisdictions. Volatility, gold is boring. That's the point. While you're preserving wealth, boring is good. Bitcoin still moves kind of like a tech stock. Gold has a long track record. It's been money for 5,000 years. Bitcoin has been around for 15 years. And half that time it was associated with the Silk Road and ransomware. So the takeaway is, I'm not saying Bitcoin is bad. I'm saying the market is telling us something. When real money gets scared, it's still not choosing Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin can't win during these macro conditions with money printing, inflation, geopolitical chaos, and monetary debasement, then when exactly is it supposed to win? So that's the unpriced risk that maybe is actually priced in right now perfectly. Is Bitcoin might not actually be digital gold. It might just be Bitcoin, something completely different animal. This brings me perfectly to our final story and kind of evidences the some of the weaknesses of Bitcoin. A teen stole $40 million from a U.S. government Bitcoin wallet. All right. Hard to imagine him doing that with gold. Hard to imagine a teenager orchestrating a Fort Knox heist for $40 million in gold. He would have to have a lot of trucks. So let me walk you through how he did it. This kid's name is John Lick. His dad owns a company called CMMDS, which has an IT government contract in Virginia. What does CMMDS do? Well, they assist the marshals in managing seized crypto assets. So John Lick, whose dad works for the company that helps the government secure seized Bitcoin, somehow got into an argument with another scammer online. And they decided to settle it by going ban for ban. So Lick tried to flex his money by demonstrating how he could move funds from a $63 million wallet, or a wallet that had acquired $63 million in funds from various schemes, including extracting from the Bitcoin wallet under the marshal's control. Let's talk about what this actually means here. What is the unpriced risk in this scenario? Let's peel it apart a little bit. It's kind of like more evidence that crypto doesn't really protect from the very human element that is behind most crimes. If the U.S. Marshals, the people responsible for securing seized criminal assets, can't keep Bitcoin safe, Literally, who can, dude? If the feds can't keep it safe, who can? Going back to our gold example, you throw in a vault, you have a bunch of guys with guns there, and they just kill anyone who tries to take it. With Bitcoin, it's a lot more complicated. All it requires is one phrase. As we've always said, as everyone always knows, not your keys, not your coins. Anyone has access to the keys. It's anyone's game. If this custody is so hard, then all the talk about Bitcoin as a reserve asset or sovereign wealth funds holding Bitcoin runs into a massive problem. How do they secure it at scale without creating insider threat vulnerabilities? Okay. We had a recent story about a major Chinese general, right, who got bribed and was leaking nuclear secrets. This happens all the time, by the way. Now, imagine if someone could just bribe one guy or a couple guys in the Treasury Department and then just drain the entire wealth of a nation. It's not the most secure way to run your business, is it, or your country? So how do you secure it at scale without creating insider threat vulnerabilities? Gold doesn't have this problem. You put it in a vault, you guard the vault, you're done. Bitcoin, you need hardware security modules. You need multi-sig setups. You need air-gap systems, social engineering prevention, insider threat mitigation. And even then, some snot-nosed brat who works for your contractor can apparently just take it. Bitcoin's problem isn't regulation. It isn't volatility. It isn't even adoption. It's that securing is so difficult that even people whose job is to secure it can't do it reliably. So these are the unpriced risks, the security holes in our AI future, the persistent preference for rocks over digital assets, and the unsolved problem of Bitcoin custody. What do you guys think? Am I being too bearish on Bitcoin? Too paranoid about AI? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, come on. Yo, this that spooky shit. That real, that's right. That GM Sonic shit. Hey, yo, Mr. Clean. Shout out to Dracula